to Ururoa Flavell.
Tēnā koe, Mr Speaker, kia ora tātou katoa tēnei pō. Mr Speaker, on behalf of the Māori Party, can I say from the very start that we believe that we've got to do things far better in dealing with returning those in prison back to the community to stay and live positive and productive lives. We have to look at new models, new ways of doing things, and this bill, the Corrections Contract Management of Prisons Amendment Bill, is a part of that effort. Should Māori have the opportunity to bid, along with others, to run prisons which could be tikanga based? Hell yeah. Mr Speaker, if you didn't know this is an idea, this bill is an idea that's been around for some time. It's been a long time coming. As others have referred to, just over a decade ago, in March of 1999, Northland iwi Ngāti Hine talked with the Corrections Corporation of Australia regarding the proposed site at Ngāwha Ngē Kaikohe. The proposal was a joint venture to participate in the administration of a prison. The Australian corporation would run the prison for 5 years, and then Ngāti Hine would take over the management. Well, Labour pulled the rug under the feet of Ngāti Hine, pushing them to the margins while the state came in and set up Ngāwha prison right under their eyes. A year later, New Zealand's first privately run prison, Auckland Central Remand Prison, was opened. ACRP was managed by Australian Correctional Management and lasted a glorious 5 years. Now, glorious, I know, might be a bit of an unusual word to describe anything to do with prisons, but it was something that we think was to celebrate, that the way in which we think that the idea about how prisons were run and managed, how they treated and rehabilitate Māori was for once being undertaken in a way which was at long last effective for Māori. Mr Speaker, I want to make it quite clear our support for ACRP, or indeed for the concept of private management of prisons, is motivated purely and simply by the concept of Māori solutions for Māori problems driven by Māori philosophies. We are interested in 3 key questions. Will private management of prisons be effective in addressing and reducing Māori offending? How will Māori management be different from state management? Will iwi be profit-driven? Is something else altogether required? A whare oronga, a rehabilitation centre which might be consistent with a policy of restorative justice. Mr Speaker, these are the questions that we look to have responses to during the Select Committee stage of this bill. But before we get there, I want to return to this concept of Māori solutions for Māori problems driven by Māori philosophies, which Te Iwi Whānui o Tāmaki Makaurau promoted as the cornerstone ideology of their relationship with ACRP. I think it is important to just spend some time refreshing our memories about the achievements that Māori experienced at ACRP, as it is absolutely central to our support for this bill. Mr Speaker, Te Iwi Whānui o Tāmaki Makaurau, as referred to by Sandra Gowdy, was a board representing the 6 local iwi who were recognised in a formal relationship with the management of the Auckland Central Remand Prison. The 6 iwi, Ngāti Whātua o Ōrākei, Te Kawarau Amaki, Ngai Tai ki Tāmaki Tribal Trust, Ngāti Pāua, Ngāti Te Ata, and Te Waiohua, were the mana whenua tribes that signed a formal memorandum of partnership with the Department of Corrections with regards to the establishment and support of ACRP. The detail of the memorandum is actually quite innovative, really. There is a focus on consultation with iwi. There is a provision to measure the impact of cultural and spiritual values on the design and construction of the buildings. There are procedures relating to the discovery of any wāhi tapu, koiwi or taonga on the site. And there are 4 guiding principles which form the very basis of the partnership. And they are establishing relationships with Māori stakeholders, recognising and providing for Māori interests, being responsive to Māori concerns, ensuring equality of opportunity for Māori. Now, Mr Speaker, why on earth would the Māori Party speak against that? I want to take us back in time to the basis of the relationship enjoyed between iwi whānui and ACRP, because I think it stands as an example of standards that were set that could and should motivate all of our prisons to lift their game. Mr. Speaker, I do not need to drill too far before we see the ongoing and compounding dysfunction in the current prison system. And all of us in this House know only too well that Maori make up just over half of the New Zealand 8,229 prisoners in the country. So the question is, why wouldn't we look for new ideas, for new solutions to encourage innovation and excellence in the management of prisons? Mr. Speaker, the standard that was set at ACRP was about improving performance and service provision, cultural safety, community consultation, and attitude right across all levels of management. It wasn't, as some have warned, about thinking of prisons as a profit-making industry. There wasn't a heap of breaches and problems emerging from poor compliance in upholding standards and safety. In fact, in practice, ACRP raised the benchmark in many areas. After 150 years of prisons in New Zealand, ACRP was the first prison to employ a Maori general manager. And I take a moment to acknowledge the contribution of Dom Karodia, the contribution that he made. It was an institution where the Treaty of Waitangi wasn't reserved for the library shelves. The principles of partnership, protection and participation underpinned all operations and all procedures of management and delivery. Mr. Speaker, I remind the House that the state has legal obligations to strive to respect the rights of incarcerated persons, including the protection of their safety and well-being. What we saw with ACRP was that it actually was possible to have a penal institution where the emphasis was on rehabilitation and working with the inmates to address crime. Mr. Speaker, our colleague Dr. Peter Sharples, in his role as Associate Minister of Corrections, has also suggested that a private Maori prison could build on the work being done in the 5 Maori units at facilities across the country. We would never say this is the ultimate answer, the only solution. Mr. Speaker, our preference, of course, would be that the chronic issues confronting the state system could be addressed, that the risks and safety issues that plague our prisons could be managed, that the well-being and safety of inmates could be upheld. But achievements of this nature are far from a reality at the moment. And so we look to the possibilities of contract management to know that we can actually believe it is possible to create a culturally safer and appropriate prison. Mr. Speaker, Dr. Greg Newbold, an Associate Professor in Criminology at Canterbury University, has publicly confirmed the high standards that were upheld at ACRP. In his view, the success factors that are associated with the private management is that private companies will not tolerate the types of policy failures and management mistakes that we regularly see in our public prisons. Private companies are focused on accountability and credibility, and there's nothing wrong with that. Perhaps another surprising source of support was that of Corrections Association National President Bevan Hanlon, who has acknowledged the current penal system does not work well and also says that needs to be more accountability. Mr. Speaker, the Maori Party is aware that Te Puni Kōkiri has been consulted with in the process of this bill. Their recommendation was that there should be explicit and measurable performance objectives and standards relating to the rehabilitation and reduction of Maori recidivism, the recidivism of Maori inmates. They saw this as a key element by which accountability could be achieved, so much so that it should be legislated for and regularly reported on. Mr. Speaker, we will support this bill through to Select Committee. Our bottom line, of course, is that we are opposed to the building of more prisons, whether state or privately managed. Our entire aim, in fact, is to reduce the use of prison as a priority response to offending. But if there are to be prisons and there are Maori inmates, then why not also consider opportunities to Maori to manage and guide and lead us as partners in the management of prisons? It's an idea that surely is worth considering.
Quite right.